What is up, you guys? Sorry about the wind, but we are currently out here at Ukumehame Beach and we're shooting this beautiful driftwood behind me. And let me check this out. We have this beautiful driftwood right here in front of us. That's this beach. The tide's coming in, and what we're looking at doing is we have our camera set up on our tripod, and currently we have our neutral density filters on. I am using my Ultra R ND hard 6-stop gradient filter because what I'm wanting to do is I want to pull back my long exposure. I want to drag that shutter, and the reason why is because we want nice smooth water down here, but as the sun sets over here, we're going to get nice beautiful color, and we have some clouds coming in, especially from Haleakala that's right over here. And so the game plan is we're going to shoot this. I really like these rocks that are in the foreground and how they look. So one thing I love about this composition, my tree that's coming up above the sky, I have that on my far left thirds, but I'm also using a hard R&D filter, so it's going to have a hard line going across it. The reason why is because with the ocean you have a solid line, and I want from the ocean up to have a beautiful blue to it, and so as the sun sets we'll be able to balance the colors between it. So what I'm going to do now is, because that the wood is still lit up, I'm going to go ahead and get a few shots to see what I'm looking at, just to see how it looks with my current setup. So let's go ahead and take our bracketed shot. So I'm currently shooting at f16 with my 6-stop and that graduated 0.6 R&D filter. Is going to have me increase it. So we're doing whole stop increments. So we'll start at 1/6 of a second at ISO 50. We'll go ahead and do our bracketed shots, and this is what they look like. All right, let's review these shots, see what they look like on the back of my camera. Oh, I love that. Beautiful. So my +1, I really love how the water looks, and I really love how when we're looking at this photo, we have nice silky water going across, but it's not affecting the tree compared to our negative or our neutral, our middle photo, our third photo, which, you know, isn't that bad. But even then, you know, maybe I can blend, you know, some from the first to the second. So what I'm going to do is, right, we shot -2, -1, neutral, +1, +2. I'm going to go down to 3. We're going to bump it to the left 1 stop. We're going to shoot 3, 2, 1, and then our neutral, and then +1. And the reason why is I just want to see what I can get with these waves. I want to play around with the water, and I want to play with my shutter speed because I want options. Now, normally when I'm shooting long exposures, I'm wanting to do a 15 or a 30-second long exposure to get that silky effect, right? Normally waterfalls and stuff like that, but in this case the water's slowly coming in and slowly going out. So what we could do is we can bump up our ISO around a 400 to 800, which isn't going to introduce a whole lot of noise, but it's going to allow my sensor to be more sensitive to light, and that will allow me to adjust my shutter speed a little bit less, but still get some sort of texture within the water if I want it. So let's go ahead and try that. And here's what the -3, -2, -1, neutral, and +1 look like. I bumped my ISO up to 400, and I'm still shooting at f16. We haven't adjusted that yet. But the reason why I want to have f16 is because I want this driftwood to really be in focus. Now I can shoot it at f11, but normally I don't go past f16 because you're going to run into diffraction. The only time I really push again past f16 is to go up to f22 to really force my shutter to drag out. So if it's high noon and I'm shooting a waterfall, right, I want to be able to make that silky effect. So shooting at 400 ISO at f16, we're at 0.8 of a second. And so let's go ahead and do that. And we're back to our normal bracketing, -2 to +2. And what I'm going to do is I want to time it right to when a wave is coming in. And as it comes in, I have a 2-second timer, and I want to catch it as the water is going out. So let's go ahead and try and get these shots. We just got to wait for a wave. We just have to wait for a wave to come in. Here we go. Here's a good wave. Let's see what we get. Perfect. Ooh, some of these look really good. I really love some of this texture in the water. So what I might actually end up doing is pulling off my R&D filter and just having my 6-stop filter. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and see what I can get with the water. There's a wave coming, so I want to see what I can get with this last shot. So I went on ahead and pulled off the R&D filter, and now I only have my 6-stop filter on. And doing that, that's going to go from 1/8 of a second to 1/6 of a second. It's not a big jump, and that's okay. And so let's see what we can get with this. We got a nice wave coming in. Here we go. Perfect. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, there we go. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, that looks much better. I love this texture. So as we look at the negative, I really like how the third photo looks, because we have some texture in that water. And what we might have to do in our post-production is go through and blend some of these together, or we may not even use them at all. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to take a few more shots of the waves as they're coming in and out to get different photos. And then we'll talk about more as the sun sets, as we get color up in the sky, because these clouds are going to light up with a beautiful orange. So I took a few shots of the water coming in and out at a low shutter speed. And what I'm going to end up doing is, as we look at these rocks right here, these beautiful rocks, as the waves coming in, right, we see them coming over. As it comes in, I'm timing it to where when it comes in and it starts to go out, when we look at these rocks right here, and even this one, right, as it comes in and it starts to go out, it creates beautiful streaks. Now occasionally I'll get a nice wave that will come up here, and that's what I've been waiting for. So when we look out here in the water, we can see the waves coming in, right? And so it's a timing game. It's all about timing, right? Because when it comes in and it starts to go out, we're going to get those beautiful streaks. But occasionally, like right out here, there's a big wave, right? Which means that tells me that there's a really good wave getting ready to come in. So once that wave makes it to us, it should come somewhere around here and then go back out. And I want to get some of that water behind these rocks. Now, if I'm unable to do that, that's okay. Right, see, here we go. There's a good one, right? Boom. Beautiful. As that goes out, that is a perfect one right there. So as it comes in and comes out, we just want to make sure we can time that right. But then once the sun gets below the horizon, we'll get a nice beautiful orange up in the sky. And that's what I'm also excited about. So we'll have good information in the foreground, a nice light color balance on the tree, and then beautiful colors in the cloud. Now I am shooting this all in manual. Being that I'm shooting all of this in manual, the biggest thing is I'm manually adjusting my Kelvin. As I'm adjusting my Kelvin, I'm setting it to 5500, because it's, you know, it's not cloudy out, it's not raining, we have beautiful skies. Yeah, we have a few blotches of clouds, but it's not really affecting the sun. And so I'm going to set my Kelvin to 5500, and I'm not going to adjust my tint because I want it to be right in the middle, because there's nothing for me to add or subtract within this scene. And so that's something that we want to make sure we're being cognitive of.
All right, you guys, welcome back. So we're back on the mainland, and here's all the photos that we took of the Driftwood, right? I only selected the ones that I wanted, so they're not all in here, but here are some of the ones that we were talking about where we were looking at the waves coming out using that low shutter speed. I really like how the water looks in this one. But I also like how the sand looks within this photo. But when we look at the water, right, we can see these white lines as the waves are going out. And so it's a timing game, right? This one looks pretty good because you have a wave coming in right here and the water going out, which can also add texture to your photo. But then as we get down here to golden hour, right, we're getting that beautiful orange up here in the sky. And so I went on ahead and did our basic edits where I adjust the shape, I adjusted the highlights, the shadows, the whites, and the blacks, and added a little bit of saturation. And so let's go ahead and hop over here to Photoshop and let's look at how we're going to blend all of this together. Right, I really like how the sand looks on this one. We have that, like I was saying, that texture in the water. So these are going to be the 4 photos that we're going to work with. This will be the base photo that we're going to start with. And so we want to blend this in with this. And so everything's already been lined up, but I like with this photo, I don't like how there's no light down here in the sand. It's just too blue, but I really like how this looks. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a blacked out layer mask. Wrong one, right? And we're going to grab our stylus and we're going to color in the sand and we're going to add some light to that tree. So let's make sure that is selected. White is selected. Hit B for brush, adjust it to 100. And then let's go ahead and make this bigger. Let's see what this looks like. Well, yeah, there we go. We'll go ahead and add this in here. Right. And then if we can bring this down just a little. There we go. There we go. That's a good spot right there. And then let's go ahead and I want to select, see if, I don't know if this will work. Maybe it will. I can select some of that tree with subject select. There we go. That ain't too bad. It did a decent job just to get started. And so we're going to go ahead and hit 50%, zoom in. So I only want to add some orange light up on this tree. Right, we want that texture. The lower half I can add in manually without these lines, but this will allow me to have, let's go ahead and add 100. We'll just make it fully bright. There we go. Yeah. Because that texture looks really good. And I really loved how that orange on the tree was looking. Yes, we're affecting some of the sky because of this mask and how it was selected, but that's okay because we can come back, hit X, and we can get rid of that, get rid of that. Rid of that, there, right there, right, and roll 0, and let's see where else we can add, right, so there's a whole bunch over here that we can add as well, because we want to get as much color, oh, wrong one, we want to reveal, not conceal, okay, bit over here. I'm not too worried about if I touch the water because we're going to end up blending something different in. Now, if I wanted to, I can, take the time. I can come up here and actually just grab the magnetic lasso and just go around like this. Actually, let's go ahead and do that just to make it easier. Zoom in. Actually, let's do the magnetic lasso, not the magic wand. Come on. Yes, I know. It isn't the best thing in the world, but to start, hit B. This is just going to make sure I stay mainly on this log, right? Getting this light in here. D. And again, I'm not too worried about the water. So already this photo's coming along pretty well, right? So that's the before, and that's what we've blended in. I don't think there's anything else that I want to blend in. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right. Now with this one, we do want the water, right? So what we're going to do is do the same thing, come up here, add a mask. We're not worried about the sky. But we'll have to blend the water, this background water with this foreground water. So let's go ahead and start doing that because I really liked how that looked. So everything's set to 100. And I'm just going to go ahead and go straight across. Kind of outline this. It's okay if we get a little bit of the tree because it'll add to it. There we go. All right, we can already see a difference, especially between these two. So we'll have to, just kind of be smart about how we, blend these two together. And as you're blending, you make sure, when you do an area and you get it where you want, make sure you stop and unclick because you don't want to do a whole area and then find out, oh, I messed up. And then now you have to, go back, fix, or, if you do mess up, it's not a massive, massive area that you have to try and fix, right? So we want to make sure we get in between this tree. Right, there we go. We had all zoom out. This just allows us to see what areas we've missed, which is a really nice little tool within Photoshop. And all you do is just hit Alt when you go over to that mask. I just want to make sure we get all of it so we're not missing anything, because if we are, then it'll look weird, especially when we go to do a big size print. So we're just gonna go ahead and get all of that out. Let's go ahead and get a nice good line back here, right? Although, come back. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. And now I'm gonna set it to 50% and just kind of come over here and kind of blend this together, right? This is where the artistic side comes in. It's kind of like painting, right? We want it to the blend. Oh yeah, there we go. Beautiful. That's a nice blend. So we went from that to this. So yeah, that blend's working very well. Take some of that out. There we go. Yeah, it's looking much better. What's this one? I want to add some of the light to the log because we can see right here there's a little bit more information. And so let's just go ahead and manually blend that in, right? Let's go to 50, which we're already at. We'll just blend in a little bit of this information from the earlier, right? A little bit goes a long way. Add some highlights in here. We really want that information. So we want it to be able to pop. There we go. Much better. There we go. See how we're adding that information. All right, and there we go. And so right now it's already in a group. So what we can do is Alt-Control-Shift-E. And we're going to go ahead and open this up in Camera Raw, where now we're going to do our second in-depth post-processing to essentially give this photo a blend. So let's go ahead and we can open up the shadows a little, not a whole lot, and then bring up the highlights just a little, add a little contrast, bring down black, so not too much. Yeah, let's go to -2. Actually, we're going to bring down the highlights, then we'll bring up the white. Let's go to 35. The highlights we can bring down. Perfect. Bring up the vibrance a little. I really like how we're getting that in the sky. And then here we can adjust. We're going to mess with the saturation. All right, we can bring up these reds. Bring the orange just a little. All right, let's bring the yellows back. Don't need green. We'll bring up the aquas, blues. All right, and we're already getting a much better photo. I would bring up the purple or the magentas and the purple because we're at this point we're messing with the clouds in the background, right? We have some purple and magenta. And so we'll go ahead and open that up in Photoshop. And now, you know, we went from this to this. And from here you can do, you know, some dodging and burning, where we bring out the highlights and the shadows. So let's put a little bit of emphasis on some of these shadows. So we're going to set it to 15 and we'll do some burning, right? Because this cloud was nice and dark. We really want these clouds to pop, especially over here. So they're very beautiful and they were very dark, but there was a lot of information into them. Same thing with this little guy up here. Gonna need to bring down that line yet. Not too worried about that. You know, this little. Bring that back. Right. Zoom in. Make some of these shadows pop a little bit. And there we go. So there we go. We just took a basic photo and we did some burning, and now we're going to do some dodging where we're going to add some highlights. So we're still at 15%. I really like this film. I really want it to light up, especially because of how it looked in the water, right? I want to be cognitive of how we're going about doing this. So we don't want to do too much, but as you can see, right, if I mess up, there we go, we can take all of that back. We can add some Control 0 or Control Z. We're going to hit 0.5 because I want to add a little bit up here to some of these clouds, but I don't want it to be really, really noticeable. But at 5%, we can add that to make these highlights pop a little bit more. Same thing down here with the sand. Just put a little bit more emphasis on some of these highlights. There we go. And there we have it. We've blended together this beautiful photo where we blended in long exposure, the sunset, highlights for the tree and the sand, and we did camera raw using a smart filter and did some adjustments in there and some dodging and burning. And we can keep working on this photo for a good hour or so. But I think this is a good stopping point because we talked about how to blend it and do everything else. So if you enjoy this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video as we go to the top of Haleakala and we got lucky. And this is a spoiler. We actually ended up shooting some Milky Way. So in our next post-production, we're going to talk about how to blend that together and how we're going to actually shoot the Milky Way from the top of Haleakala.